We have some big news from the Las Vegas Raiders training camp. The team's starting left tackle, Colton Miller, has been put on the physically unable to perform PUP list. This is surprising because we thought Miller would be healthy by now and ready for the first day of training camp. I remember during OTAs and minicamp, we were wondering why Miller wasn't practicing. We later found out he had off-season shoulder surgery. It's been over 2 months since the Raiders started their OTAs and minicamp, and Miller still isn't healthy. He can't practice yet and remains on the PUP list. He can come off the PUP list anytime if he passes a physical, which might happen next week, in 2 weeks, or even longer. We don't know how serious his injury is. This situation also makes the signing of Andre Pete more understandable. Pete is a better player than Thod Emford, based on last season's performance. It didn't make sense why the Raiders signed Pete and didn't have him play right tackle. But now, it makes sense. The Raiders probably knew Miller wouldn't be ready for training camp, and he might not be ready for the start of the NFL season either. This is just speculation, though. It's strange that Pete didn't take any snaps at right tackle, because you'd expect the Raiders to use their best players. But now it all fits. Jackson Paris-Johnson is also on the PUP list. Earlier, I discussed this with my friends, Graphic and Wasted. Along with Johnson, Darion Butler, Jake Johenning, Jalen Gahn, and Colton Miller are on the PUP list. Most of these guys should be okay, but Miller's return date is uncertain. Will it be 2 weeks, 2 months, or even a year before Colton Miller is healthy? We really don't know. I'm concerned, but I hope someone asks Luke Getsy about Miller's status during practice tomorrow. Some people have suggested that the Raiders should trade or release Miller and move Emford to left tackle because Emford is better there. However, it's crazy to me because Miller is a top 10 to 12 tackle in the NFL, while Emford hasn't proven himself yet. If Emford was already performing at a top level, maybe it would make sense to release Miller, who has been injury-prone. But we're not there yet. Miller is our best offensive lineman and a very good player. We just hope he gets healthy and doesn't have ongoing shoulder issues. While Miller is sidelined, Andre Pete will likely step in at left tackle. This is his natural position. The Saints had an injury at left tackle when Ron Ramczyk got hurt, and now they miss having Pete. They'll have to rely on Trevor Penning, who struggles as a tackle. He might be a good guard in the future, but not a tackle. The Saints obviously miss Pete, but the Raiders made a smart move by picking him up, knowing Miller's injury could be long-term. Jackson Paris-Johnson will also miss some time, but I'm not worried about him. He should be back in a week or two. The interesting part is that Cody Whitehair will step in at left guard. I talked about this with Graphic and Wasted, and we wondered who would play left guard if Johnson couldn't. We thought it might be Andre Pete, but now both Pete and Whitehair will need to step in, one at left guard and one at left tackle. It'll be interesting to see how long these players remain on the PUP list. Remember, they can clear it at any time. As for the other 3 players, I'm not too worried. Darren Butler, a second-year player, showed promise in run defense. Jake Johenning, a rookie guard, looked good in college, but as a rookie, he might not be crucial right now. If Jackson Paris-Johnson and Colton Miller are healthy, the Raiders don't really need more offensive linemen. Jalen Gahn's health is important, and I hope he recovers soon. Michael Gallup has retired, and while some are shocked, I'm not. I recently discussed 5 veterans who might not stay with the Raiders, and Gallup was one of them. The other players I mentioned were Cody Whitehair, John Jenkins, and Divine Diablo. Gallup's retirement isn't a huge loss for the Raiders because Devontae Adams, Trey Tucker, and Jacoby Myers are clearly ahead of him. At best, Gallup would have been the 4th wide receiver, and he might not have even beaten out Jalen Gahn for that spot. Gallup faced a tough situation. Maybe he lost his passion for football or didn't fully recover from his ACL injury. Shout out to Michael Gallup. He was with the Raiders for a short time, but still made an impact. His retirement doesn't make the Raiders worse. That's the injury report. Antonio Pierce mentioned we'd get an update soon. 5 players are on the PUP list, and 1 player has retired. What do you think about this report? The Raiders' first practice is tomorrow, and there's going to be a lot of news. Let me know your thoughts, thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time with another video.